You changed the world, man. We
Yeah,
got my boy Gerald Geestro Heyward here on the
yes,
Independent
sir.
Podcast. This is episode 13 with
Yes,
the
sir.
legend, man. There are a few people like him in the world, man. He has left his mark, and he's a young man. He ain't even old yet, so he still got a lot more playing to do.
I'm a young
Um,
old man, young old man.
I call it seasoned. We are seasoned.
Right.
I love the segment. There's a few cities like Chicago, Philly, LA, Houston, and you touched on this before, but there's no place like New York, Brooklyn,
Right.
especially. Like, talk to me about your family tree, and this
Um,
is meaning like people who have come from your legacy. And you
right.
mentioned Monte before,
Yeah,
as far
yeah,
as like inspiring you. But who has
yeah.
come from you that like in your
But
family
like,
tree?
so in my era, just like I can just talk about it like through eras. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I came in the era of Bobby Walker, you
dope.
know, Monte Greer, Rob Monroe. Uh, uh, it's so many of them that was in that era. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Jeff Davis
Absolutely.
and you know the Joel Smiths and all of that. So
Hmm.
those guys kind of was my surroundings.
Hmm.
That was what I was hearing. That's what my ear gates heard. Right.
Yeah.
And then time moved on. Um, I finally, like I said, I finally played the drums, and people used to come to institutional to hear me play,
Yeah.
like on Sunday night. And
Radio broadcast on Sunday night.
yeah, so
Oh yeah.
I kind of knew I had something
Yeah.
at that point. And we go there, and then you got, I don't know if you know Josh Key,
Of
um,
course.
Devin Harris, Shawan Andrews,
Yes.
Sharik Tucker, like all of these guys has come and said, "Yo, Uncle G, like you inspired me,"
Yeah.
or the people that they were watching
Hmm.
along with me,
Yeah.
it was the inspiration. It's like, yo, you inspired him, he inspired me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I have a whole troop of nephews that I call guys that I call my nephews,
Yeah.
and they are phenomenal drummers.
Incredible.
Isaiah Johnson and like all of these guys are like they
And
got
they so New York too, so
yeah
they got it
and they
all, man.
and they got it, and I'm so
Yeah.
proud of them because is the thing with me is I always want to be able to pass along what I've been blessed to do or where I've been, places I've been blessed to walk in and be a part of. And I want to pass it on to them, but I want them to know how to take care of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want to give it to them and then they mess it up.
Right.
So I would have sheds and stuff at my house. It always turned into, conversations. We go out to
Hmm.
eat, we
Yeah.
talk, we try to figure out, you know, we talk about life,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because people don't realize this, but life affects your drumming.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's no way around that. You know what
True.
I mean? It's no way around it not affecting your drumming.
Right.
So you gotta have your life in order
Hmm.
so that your drumming will be in order.
That's good stuff,
And
man.
like I said, man, and then all of the guys down in the DMV area,
Hmm.
with Aaron and Jamal and Brendan and
Yeah.
Hayes and
Yep.
Rod and all of those guys. um,
Killers.
we they kill us, but we've had conversations and they say, Uncle G, I got connected to you because of this,
Hmm.
and I understand who you are. I
Yeah.
understand what you've done for the community,
Hmm.
and I just want to be great as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, I want them to be great. I
Yeah.
want them to be the next. Like I
Yeah.
love it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love to see the process
Right.
because I didn't never really recognize my process as it
Mm.
was happening.
It
You know
happened
what I
so
mean?
fast for you, I'm sure. Like, you
Yeah,
said you claim to be a late bloomer, so you went
yeah,
from that to the stage, like from
yeah,
institutional. You
yeah,
did your gospel stuff, like a couple albums, and you was gone.
yeah.
And
I never played in the clubs or nothing like
no.
that. I just went straight from the church to the stage.
Now, can I ask you a question? How did the
Uh,
church handle that? Because you were the first,
um, well,
the
it was
first of
some,
my generation. So how did they handle
yeah,
that?
it was some pushback, because I was with Hezekiah at the time,
Yeah.
and what I can truly say is the people that were above me spiritually that I
Mhm.
was connected to, um, they were more fearful of me going out and either drinking, smoking, or
Right.
just embracing
Right. That
the
lifestyle.
world
Yeah.
in the wrong manner.
Right.
So they didn't know how spiritually strong I was.
Yeah.
So it made them push back when it's like,
Hmm.
yo, don't go out there, don't do that, don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they, like Hezekiah didn't know that I was spiritually sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, yo, I got this. Like, the craziest thing is most things that are done on the road, I was doing in church when I was 14,
Right.
15 years old.
Sheesh.
I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
experienced those things in
Right.
church. So when I got on the road, it was like, oh, nigga, I was doing that when I was 14. I have no interest in that
Yeah.
anymore. You
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
So a lot of situations was that, like, my biggest thing is, man, I'm going to buy some sneakers, man. That's my
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy sneakers. I'm a shopper,
Yeah.
and 9 times out of 10, if I shop in the morning, that night, I'm in my room trying the stuff on. I'm having fast trying my stuff on because I'm
Yeah.
going to be fresh every single solitary day. And
Word.
that was something that kept my mind
Yeah.
away from everything that I could have been wrong for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or everything that could test my spirituality and
Yeah.
where I was, with God, what my relationship was with God. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
my foundation has always been the church. It's always been, I never denounced the church. I
Yeah.
hear a lot of drummers, they go from
Ooh.
church to the thing, but they denounce the church.
How
And
do
I
you feel
said,
about that when they label you as a gospel drummer? And they don't do
I
that
don't
with you,
care.
but other people, yeah.
I don't care because you know why? Because I started a whole movement.
Yeah. Facts.
I have something to do with the whole movement
Talk that
of,
talk, G.
see, so this is the thing. They didn't know what to call what I was when I first came out.
Of
They
course.
didn't know what it's like, what is this? Like, why does he sound like that? Or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, and that's where the whole gospel drummer chop
Hmm.
thing came from.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, what is that? It's like, oh, I'm from church. And that's all I kept saying. I'm
Yeah.
holding up the bloodstained banner, like, yo, I'm from church.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Not ashamed.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed. Like, and
Word.
I don't feel that no one that's how can I say it? I don't know the word, but I don't think that no one should denounce the
Yeah.
church, man.
No.
Like that's where we from, and it makes us super special because they say, like, church drummers don't have a left hand or
Hmm.
different things like that, and it's like, yo, when I seen Chris Coleman sit down with Dave Weckl, it was like, so church drummers don't have a left hand, huh?
Right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Chris Coleman says different.
Yeah.
And he studied Weckl.
Yeah.
He studied, so he knows.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows what corner you turn in. He knows all of that.
Yeah.
And then it's like knowing all of that, and then I'm gonna put my church on top of it. Because the church, you can't explain the church. You
No.
can't explain the textures that we use. You can't explain that.
Yeah. It's from
That's
the heart.
all from the heart.
Yeah.
You know
Dog.
what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, I had Thomas Lane watch me one time. I was doing a clinic. We was doing some clinics together, and he's like, yo, I can't believe, like, you made all of these textures up. He's like, I just can't believe this. He's like, all these guys that's playing, they have something that you have, or
Yeah.
and I said, man, it's just what they were hearing. It's
Yeah.
what they was hearing. I said, but all of it come from the heart. I don't know anything technical about what I play.
Right.
I don't know what you call it. I
That's
don't know
amazing.
left, right, left. I don't know none of that. All I know how to do is sit down and play it. And when my heart distributes it, that's what I do.
That's a
You know what I
gift,
mean?
man. Such a gift from
Yeah.
God, bro. Like it's amazing, dog. And you have found a way to provide for your family. You know what I mean? You've done this for, I mean, gee, how many years? Is it 30 years yet?
It is 26 or 7, something like that. Like 26 or 27.
Amazing.
And I'm gonna tell you, man, like I never set out to do this. I never set out to be a professional drummer because I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
All I know was I seen Steve Gadd in the books. I seen Vinny in the books. I seen Weckel in the books. And I just said I want to be in a book.
Yeah.
You know, but I never knew that, you know, like it could be a lifetime, it could be a career. I never knew that. And my first tour, you know, when I got I was getting $1,250 a week. And I was like, oh snap, you could do that doing something I like?
Yeah.
Oh, word. And then that's when I learned the whole mathematics of it and everything, you know.
Facts. Wow.
So, yeah.
If you weren't a drummer, and I know you started real early in your adult years, was there anything else you wanted to be?
Nah, because like I said, I didn't know what the money thing was.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how much we needed money or how much, you know, money was important. You know what I mean? Because you know, you live with your parents, you don't really have no cares in the world.
Of course, yeah.
So I never really seek out anything to become.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you may say, oh yeah, I want to drive a bus because your church went on a bus trip. You know, you thought the driver was cool.
Right.
So you may say stuff like that, but I never really set out to do anything, man. And you know, for my first gig, I got on my first gig because I played with Hezekiah. Aaron Hall took the record that he sang on and the record that I played on, me and Jeff. And Teddy was like, yo, who is the two guys playing the drums on this one, on I'll Make It? He was like, yo, it's two drummers. Like, what is that? That's two drummers. And Aaron was like, no, it's one drummer. It's my little cousin Gerald, Gerald. And he was like, it's impossible. He's like, I'm hearing rolls. I'm hearing like, what is that? And he was like, no, I'll bring them to you. Wow. And he took me to Teddy Riley and I played for him. And he was like, yo, I'm taking you on the road with me right now.
How old were you?
I had to be like 16, 17, something like that. 18 maybe. But so the thing was, I told Teddy, I was like, nah, your music is corny, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, it's like, and I say, yo, we play harder stuff than that in church. Like, you know, we doing it in church. Like, church is where it's at, you know what I mean? And so I didn't go on the road when he first offered me to go on the road.
Wow.
So Jeff got the gig, and then I came back later, and Aaron and them was like, yo, we take you on the road, like you're gonna be the stage manager or something. Yeah. And I was the stage manager.
Really? You paid your dues? Oh shoot.
I was the stage manager, and then Jeff went to go play for Phyllis Hyman.
This is crazy because Jonathan both talked about this when him and Jeff went to go play with Phyllis Hyman.
Stephen Ford, yep.
Yeah, Stephen Ford.
So he went to go play with Phyllis Hyman. I went. They called Abe Fogel back. Abe Fogel was the original drummer for Guy. They called him back. We went to LA to do Arsenio or something like that. And we were at this place called Third Encore. And we chilling. And Teddy was like, yo, I got to do some programming to the drum machine so y'all could take a break. So everybody left the room, right? So I stayed in the room. And I thought Teddy went to the bathroom. But he was behind the machine. And he pressed some buttons or whatever. And it started playing. So I got on the drums. And I started playing. You know, I'm going in. I'm going in. And he comes from behind the computer and he go, yo, you the new drummer.
Wow.
And forward, me, Joe Wilson, this guy named Cody, Kern. We was the guy band. I learned how to play because it was like, yo, I don't know how to play with no drum machines. I don't know how
Right.
to do none of that stuff.
You had never played till Click before.
Never. We never had that. We
Yeah,
never
no, we
had that
didn't.
church.
We got it now
making
because of you and Joe Wilson. That's
right.
you and Joe Wilson are the reason why stems and loops and all that are in church now. But we're gonna get to that. But that's another innovative thing y'all did.
But what happened was we I told him, I like, yo, I don't know how to play with a drum machine. I just know how to play drums. Like I don't know how to do that. And we had like 2 weeks of rehearsal, and that's when I learned how to play with the drum machine.
Dog.
And it was like, yo, like, nigga, you the drummer now. Don't even worry about it. You the drummer. And that was me starting to play R&B music.
That's amazing, man.
And that's
What a dope story, man. You mentioned your Uncle Butch and how influential he was to your life. Talk to me about our guy, Melvin Crispo.
Oh man. So Melvin's my god brother, and I lived with Melvin for a while, like maybe about a year or two. It's funny because that you say this because I was just telling my wife the other day, I was like, yo, I remember when I went to Charlotte. I was in Charlotte with Mary, and me and Mel went out to eat or something. We in the car, and Melvin goes, Gerald, my son could really sing.
Wow.
And I go, what you mean? He's like, yo, he is nice. Like he can sing. I'm like, really? He was like, yo, this nigga is, he was like, Lil Melvin had to be about maybe 14.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, he be like telling me like, yo, what key he's gonna sing in, and this, and it's like, and I'm like, really? So this is my premonition. Every organ player that I know that's really good on organ or keys, they can actually sing.
Okay.
They can actually sing. Like, I mean, everybody from the Stanley Browns to everybody can sing.
Travis,
my uncle Butch can sing.
Yes.
Like everybody can sing, right? So, but Melvin was just telling me about his son, and he was like, man, I'm just so mortified because my son got it. I'm like, yo, you and your wife, that's y'all passing it down like this.
Absolutely.
He has it because of that. But nobody knows that little Melvin can play the organ.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man.
he can play the organ. He can.
That's dope.
He can sit down and play the organ, play some chords, and yeah. So, but just Melvin, we grew up together. We you know what I mean. We grew up together. He sat by the organ, and taped my Uncle Butch, and he learned mostly what you've heard him produce,
or
put out, just by sitting next to the organ, with the tape recorder.
Wow.
And it's funny because Lil Eddie would do the same thing. Cousin Eddie Heyward, he would sit. But so the one day Uncle got off the organ, I thought Eddie was gonna get on the organ. We all thought Eddie was gonna play the organ like Melvin.
Yeah.
Eddie scooted across the organ to the drums. That was the first time we heard him play the drums.
Okay.
And it's like, wow, Eddie plays the drums. And then Melvin got on the organ, and it was like, yo, what is happening right now?
It was the second coming of you and Uncle Butch. That's the crazy part, because it was you and Uncle Butch that made that sound, and then here comes Melvin. And I remember the transition. It's crazy. And Eddie is a year younger than me, and it was the most depressing thing in my life to hear how good he was at 13 years old on the God Is in Control.
Oh yeah.
It mortified the whole East Coast. We was like, what? So we all had work to do to try to catch up. But we was all swole. I remember that. That's amazing. But Melvin was an amazing person, and thank you for sharing those memories, man. Because
we it's funny because when I did the God Is in Control album, I was just coming off my first tour with Guy, and I learned that album 2 days. I learned those songs in 2 days, and we recorded them. The second day was the recording, so it was like really 1 day of rehearsal, second day recording.
Wow, we're gonna talk about that because I got another
All
segment for
right.
you. But tell
Uh-huh.
me about you mentioned Uncle Jeff all through this interview.
Right.
Talk about Jeffrey White. I think that was your first gig.
Oh wow. So Jeffrey White, me and his brother, one of his brothers, we played the congas
Okay.
for Jeffrey. There was a guy named Rob Monroe who played
Mm-hmm.
drums, and then Jeffrey's brother Poppy. And Poppy's actually the drummer on Timothy Wright.
Oh wow.
That's
Wow. Get up. She on the lower side.
Poppy White on that.
Wow.
And like I said, it was a transition. It was like Jeffrey had this community choir. He had this choir, and it was like, yo, Gerald, get on the drums. It's like, all right. So I
Yeah.
get on the drums and everybody's mortified. Like, oh my God. Like, you hear what he's playing? So
Yeah.
that was my transition. But Jeffrey White, he played a big part. And like I said, I kept music around me. It was always, I was always at a rehearsal with him or something like that. And then, that's when me and Stanley met and all that. Stanley used to be in this quartet group called the Gospel Estheticists.
Whoa.
So Stanley came to my church, came to Institutional, and they come with all this equipment. You know how quartet groups do. They
Of course,
come with all this equipment. But Stanley was playing drums. He didn't play the organ. Stanley was playing drums.
That's crazy.
And then Stanley he learned how to play the organ a year maybe after. And me and Stan's been like best friends all that time. You know what I mean? Because we lived around the corner from each other. So, but we was all in Jeffrey White's choir. Hezekiah, we was in Jeffrey White's choir. All of us come from Jeffrey White's choir. Monique, everybody, all of them come from Jeffrey White's choir.
So how did y'all transition to Love Fellowship?
So Jeffrey White threw Bishop out one of his rehearsals or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we was all standing around talking and we was like, yo, man, you should start your own choir.
Wow.
And he did it, him and Stanley. They started Love Fellowship. And that's the birth of Love Fellowship. I'm the first musician, but Stanley is actually one of the creators.
The founders,
the founders of the choir. Love
That's
Fellowship.
dope, man. That is so dope.
Yep. So, and then we was coming down for Bishop Mose, and that was where I worked on my speed at. That was the fastest shouting music. Man. So I was practicing that all week at an institution. I'm like, yo, we going to Connecticut. Like
that 90s shouting music, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like 170. Easy.
Yep, no accents. We just going straight. No accents. Ain't no accents. What's that? Ain't no accents.
Nah, we straight up. Oh man. Let's talk about your pre-show ritual. What do you do before the gig? Do you have a pre-show meal? Like how do you get ready? How do you get in the zone?
Well, I don't do no hand exercises or no paradiddles or nothing like that. I listen to Jay-Z or, I listen to something that reminds me of Brooklyn.
Okay.
That, you know what I mean? Because my whole existence was to get out of Brooklyn or to make Brooklyn proud of me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So what I have to do is I have to create that atmosphere, by putting on Biggie, by putting on Jay-Z, by putting on like everybody that was from Brooklyn that represented Brooklyn fullest. And that was my whole, ritual before a show. It's like, I'm listening to some really, some Brooklyn stuff.
Put you in the mindset of home.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what and it could be Biggie, Jay-Z, it could be gospel, it could be institutional, it could be anything, but it's got to be from Brooklyn.
That home feeling, make you feel like home. Gotcha. How do you retain your music? How do you remember it?
So I normally learn songs 3 different ways.
Okay.
One way would be to play the song, just pocket, another would be play the song and be able to do setups, like make sure we're doing setups as far as to move the band. And then the third way would be to blaze it.
Yeah.
to actually go all out. And
Yeah.
because what happens is when you play for certain artists or different artists, they want certain things. They want different things.
Yeah.
And some artists may say, give me more. So I already know what I can do to the song because I learned it in a blazing manner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, some say, give me less. It's like, okay, I know I can make this tasteful and play less.
Yeah.
Because I practiced it that way.
Right.
So, and then a lot of music that I do have to learn, or if it's a lot of music, I just let it play while I'm cleaning up or while I'm doing anything. And if you start humming it and singing it and stuff, that means you know it.
You got it. Yeah.
So those are just the 3 different ways that I approach music in itself.
Do you make any notes? Do you have any notes or anything?
Oh yeah, sometimes, you know, like, you know, well, back in the day, you know, we would do bars. We just write out bars, you know, intro, 8 bars, you know, chorus, 16 bars, you know, vamp, the bridge, you know, so we would do it that way. But now, you know, now it's, you know, songs come in an email, man.
Yeah.
Like they email you the song and then you start listening to it and you sit down and you just play it.
Play on top of it.
You know, you play it. But that's been the whole thing. Like I remember doing Apollo. I did the Apollo for 28 episodes.
Wow.
And I'm the only one that couldn't read music.
Wow.
So it was, you know, like Ricky Minor, all of them.
Yeah.
And they would all read music. And I just had to learn. I had to retain 40 songs.
Yeah.
So, which means like whatever they call out, you know, if it's Alicia Keys falling, like I got to know it. And, you know, Ricky will say, oh, yo, we doing it, you know, intro, verse, chorus, whatever. So the structure of it would be simple, but I got to remember what the beat is.
Yes.
Tempo is.
Wow.
So, and that was crazy because, you know, Teddy Campbell put me in that situation. He was like, oh, on the East Coast, I'm not going. Call Gerald, and Gerald could do it. And
that's his guy too, Ricky Minor.
And so I was blessed to do that. And God really got me through that, man. I mean, one time there was this guy playing the xylophones. And so we in the rehearsal and I'm like, you know, I'm fake jazzing it. Like I'm fake jazzing it through the whole thing, you know, get to the song. Was like, okay, you cool. So once we went to go do the show, they sent the wrong music to the band. So they was playing a song, but me and the xylophone player was playing his song.
Yeah.
And we got through it. I blazed the song. It was like, I got through it. But it was like, yo, if a real jazz man walk in that door back there, he gonna be like, Gerald, what the heck? Like, I was faking Jamaican, bro. Like, I'm going down to the flames.
But that's once again, that's the church preparing you for anything to be able to.
And that's you know, like what Ricky Minor said to me. He was like, yo, man, he was like, I trust you. Your ears are big. That's why you're here. So don't worry about it. Like, you know what I mean? And that was a blessing. You know what I mean? I would sit down with the band and have them chart out, but I didn't know what it was Spanish. I didn't know what. All I knew was a rest and a repeat. That's all. So that is a repeat. That is a rest. That's a.
We in 4/4? Okay, I got that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like,
I got you.
You know, like it was like those sort of things, but. Like I said, man, God is good, man. And, you know, he don't put more on you than you can bear. Absolutely. So, you know, I was able to overcome that stuff. And we actually was the first band that they put on the stage at the Apollo. And I was doing it when Monique was the host and everything. So
that's tough.
Yo, it's a blessing, man. I got to play for Stephanie Mills and all these different artists. And
that's amazing time.
Yeah.
Give me 3 things that you carry with you at all times in your gig bag.
Well, sticks for one.
Right.
Moon gel.
Okay.
And my ears.
Your ears. Dope.
And my ears. Those are the because those are for what's now. That's what we're living in. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what we living in right now. So that would be what because I fill in at this church down in South Jersey with Craig Hayes
Dope.
And I go in and it's just weird for me because like they do vintage songs, and
Really?
it's really hard for me to take in the vintage songs with the drum machine
Mm.
because that stuff wasn't made
It
like that.
wasn't there like that. Yeah, it wasn't
It
created for
wasn't
that.
there like that. So to me it alters the feel.
So you doing Thomas Whitfield with a loop?
Yeah, it's like it
Precious
kind
Jesus with a loop?
it's kind of alters the feel. It
Yeah, I
don't
got you.
let you be as free. And it's like, we used to certain songs, it's like, the director's like, yo, pick it up, slow it
Yeah.
down, pick it. And that's the whole elegance of the song. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
And the whole atmosphere of the song. So, but like I said, man, God is good. Like everything that, I set out to do, he's blessed me, man. He's
Yeah.
blessed me. And I can't complain. I'm so happy about the career that I've had.
Of course.
And, I've been able to play for the great Michael Jackson,
Oof.
so.
So tell me about that session, 'cause I think that was with you and Darkchild, right?
Yeah, so I actually did drum sounds for Teddy as well. So
Wow.
Remember the Time, it was my snare drum sounds on
Your
that.
samples. Wow.
Yeah, and then, with Rodney, I played 10 songs on that actual album, but
Whoa.
only 2 songs made it.
Okay.
So the song called Privacy
Mm-hmm.
and then Rock My World. But
Wow.
we did 8 other songs, that were recorded and that we did.
So that's your swing on Rock My World. That's you.
Oh yeah. Listen
that's
to the
dope.
choruses, listen to the hi-hat and the choruses and all that. You'll hear it automatically.
Yeah.
Like, oh snap, I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
dope.
you ever heard of Rob Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You going ahead of me, man. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to you
I'm sorry.
you going ahead of me, man.
I'm sorry. But anyway, okay, let me go back then. So
yeah.
the Michael Jackson and the Brandy, we
Ooh.
did all a week apart. And then
I didn't know the Brandy. Which Brandy records?
Oh, Full Moon, the best one. I played on Full Moon.
All the Rodney Jerkins joints. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We
That's
did that.
amazing.
We did that session in Philly at Larry Gold's studio.
There we go, the string guy.
Yeah. So we did that session here, and then we went to New York and went to the Hit Factory to do Michael Jackson.
Now, how did you meet Rodney? Did you know him from church?
Oh, so I met Rodney at his church like when he was like 16 years old.
That's nuts, yo.
Me and Hez, we went there. We went there with the choir, and I busted his bass drum. And that's how me and him got really cool.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when I started working for Teddy, when I was working with Teddy and I was in Virginia a lot, then Rodney showed up with his father.
Yeah.
And he like, oh man, what's up? Like, so when he was trying to get down with Teddy and trying to get Teddy to help him get wherever he was trying to go, me and Rodney was real tight. Yeah. Like,
that's amazing.
So I've been known because he's a drummer. So it's like people don't know.
People don't know that,
People don't know that. So, but so that's how me and Rodney met, and we've been cool ever since. And like the Timberlands and Devontae and all of them dudes. Like I met them. Them dudes was in church boys.
Yeah, all church boys.
Them church boys.
Yeah, Timberlands, Kojic. Jodeci boys are. Yep.
Devontae father got a church, and it's just crazy. Like it is crazy. But yeah, man. Like I've crossed their paths, and it's like, yo, like I don't know. I remember one time I was in LA and I was hanging out with Nissan. We went out to eat or something, and Tank was there.
Wow. Yep.
And Tank was like, yo, you're my favorite drummer, blah, blah, blah. Yep. From church. I'm like, okay. But like I said, I never knew who I touched. There's a guy named oh man, I can't remember the guy's name. He used to play on the Bucks.
Okay.
And he was 3-point shooter. He used to play on the Bucks. Oh man. Anyway, Teddy Campbell introduced me to him. Me and Teddy
Wow.
went to a Clippers game.
Mm-hmm.
We used Warren Campbell's seats, and we went to a Clippers game one night.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Clippers game, we standing on the side or in the back, and the guy who I'm talking about, I can't recall his name right now. He comes out, and he like, oh my God, Gerald Heyward. Yo,
He was tall. It was a Vin Baker. Who was it?
it wasn't Vin Baker.
Oh man.
3-point shooter.
Oh
He
man.
was scorching niggas. 3-point
Okay.
shooter.
Gotcha.
And he came out, and the crazy thing was like, old girl from the Cosby Show was standing there. Like it was a whole bunch of stars standing there.
Yeah.
And this dude comes out, and he's screaming because I'm there with Teddy. He's like, yo, I can't believe you got Gerald Heyward here. Like, it's like,
Dope.
like you're the NBA star. I came to see you. Like,
Right.
yeah. And yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I never know who I touched and who was privy to hearing me play, and you know, on my journey.
Right.
And you know, I remember having a conversation with Adam Blackstone one time. We was at the airport, and he was saying how when he was in public school or whatever, he seen me and Kern or something on TV with Blackstreet or somebody, and he was like, yo, why the bass player don't have no bass?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does, I think the bass player is playing the keyboard? Like, what is that? And he said that was the first time he heard the bass synth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, wow, like I gotta learn that. Like, and I said to him, I said, you know what, man? You need to call Kern and tell him that changed your life. That changed, you know, what you heard, what your ear heard. Because, you know, even though we're older, you know, it feels good to hear,
of course, man,
those type of stories. It's like, yo, you was in, you know, high school.
Yeah.
And you see me on TV. Like we was basically doing what we do, but we were showing y'all how to do it, and that it was possible to do.
Yeah. And that's the dope part, because you're from where we're from.
Yeah.
So it hit closer to home to
Yeah.
see you go out and have your opportunity. And then that led to Mike having his opportunity.
Yeah.
And then that led to me having opportunities. Because when you moved, Mike moved up to take Mary.
Yeah.
You went and did something else, right? Then when Mike left, I got his gigs and got to do things for him. So it's like succession is the word I'm trying to say. Like everybody moved up, and when you moved up, Mike moved up, and then I moved up, and it's just like it was a chain of events that you didn't even know was happening. And it's
so
just
I'm gonna tell you one thing. So the only thing I regret in my career is this. I regret that I didn't move up every time I was supposed to.
Okay.
And the reason being was I was very loyal to who I work with.
Yeah, of course.
So if I started working with Mary on her first album, which I did, you know, I came in at $650 a week. You know what I mean? That was good. You know what I mean? But she would call me for every album, and every album that she put out, she give me a raise.
Yeah.
But so the problem is when I had the opportunity to go with like Janet Jackson or Blackstreet or whatever, I would not take those opportunities until I fulfill what I was doing with said artist who I was with.
Of course, yeah.
And it's crazy because like I watched somebody like Brian Fraser Moore's career, and Brian be like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like he'd be like, yo, he be playing with Jan Jackson and the Madonna call. He'd be like, you know, deuces. But he leveled up every time.
Every time, okay.
And I think that my loyalty kind of kept me.
Was to a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I tell everybody like, yo, don't. I mean, it's hard to say don't be loyal.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It was like me being loyal kind of prevented me from going to the next level. And I'm gonna tell you this that you don't know, and you probably never even heard of it.
Okay.
I was supposed to be in the Fugees.
What?
So I was supposed to be in the Fugees. Now I'm gonna tell you the story. So I'm on the road with I'm playing for SWV and Silk on a Budweiser Superfest, right?
Oh.
Playing for both groups, right? I get a call from my cousin. My cousin, his name is Bernard Alexander. He's a big time manager and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, yo, my boss want to meet with you when y'all come to New York. So I go, what your boss want to meet with me for? Whatever. So the guy's name is David Sonnenberg. That's his name. So I go, all right, I got a day off. I'm going to come meet with your boss. I come in his office. I sit down. And he goes, Gerald, I hear that you're this phenomenal drummer, this, that, and the third. And I go, yeah. He goes, what you doing right now? I said, I'm on tour with Silk and SWV. And he was like, if you don't mind me asking, how much money you making? And I said, well, I'm making close to like 2 G's per group or something like that. And he was like, all right, cool. He was like, well, I have this little Haitian group. And he said, it's a rapper, it's a singer, and another rapper. Yeah. And he said, I want to put a drummer in there to make it like a band.
A whole band, yeah.
Because he was doing he had Meatloaf at the time.
Wow.
He had, I want to say he had BB and CC or something like that. He had what's the name of the group? What I say now? Spin Doctors.
Wow.
He had Spin Doctors.
Whoa.
He also had the Fugees, bro. And he was like, yo, I want to put you in a group. He said, you're going to make about $1,500 a week and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
nah, that ain't it.
Can't make that, bro. Can't make that. 20 million later.
I was about to say 2 diamond out, 2 double diamond, or that's crazy.
Come on, man. I could have.
You didn't know though. You didn't know.
I didn't know. I could have played for 98 Degrees. I could have played for NSYNC. I had opportunities to play with the Spice Girls. Like I'm telling these people are like, I'm playing with Blackstreet on an MTV show, and Spice Girls is watching it.
Yeah.
And they tell their manager, yo, we want the drummer. They come over to me and ask me, and I'm like, nah. Because of my loyalty to Teddy, because of my loyalty to what I already said yes to. Yeah. You know what I mean? And in a lot of ways, it stagnated my growth. You know what I mean?
That's one way to look at it. And then another way to look at it is like everything that was for you came to you. Yeah, that's a way not to beat yourself up on that, because we all have like missed opportunities. Like I got called to fill in for Blackstreet one time, and I didn't have my passport.
Oh wow! Yeah.
How many passports do you have?
Huh?
How many passports have you gone through?
Well, they go like 10 years at a time. So I want to say maybe about 3 or 4.
Wow.
About 3 or 4.
You filled them all the way up.
Yeah, and then we got to a stage where you can add a lot of pages. Yeah. So some that I may have not had another one, but I'll have that one that has like multiple years in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
wow. Yeah. But see, I never had that experience. My little one experience still bites me and kicks me in the butt. But yeah, you can't base it on that.
I mean, listen, man, God has us where he wants us to be.
Absolutely.
Like I said, he's not going to put more on you than you can bear. No telling what would have happened if you would have progressed, more than where you progressed. Like I always have a notion, and I always have the mindset of, God always puts you where you're supposed to be. It don't, like your journey and your story. Mm-hmm. He already written your story. Yeah. So your story is what it is. Right. But like I said, like meeting all of these people that I've met was because I took a leap of faith and I went out, and you know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
know, going to everybody's state, you know, whether I was coming with Blackstreet or I was coming with Mary or whoever, it's like that gave me a chance to talk and, you know, get with the people that most likely I wouldn't have never reached or known. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The Teddy Campbells and the Calvin Rogers and all of these people. And, Calvin, I just remember one day Calvin calling me saying, man, there's this song on Hezekiah's second album, and the song is called He's Sweet I Know. And he was like, I listened to that song every single day of my youth life. Like,
Yeah.
I put that song on every day. And he was like, I never knew it was you playing the drums.
Jeez.
And I was like, yeah, that's me playing the drums. And then he said, then when James Hall, God's in Control record came out, he said, and I heard that intro to the one song, he said, this got to be the same person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm reaching him through the records.
All the way in Chicago, bro.
All the way in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that was monumental for me, you know.
Yeah.
And when Calvin went to go play with John P. Key, I remember him calling me when he was in the booth, and he was like, Gerald, they want me to solo. What am I gonna do? Like, what? I'm like, nigga, just play. Like, you are nice. Like, don't, you know. He called me from the booth, like, yo, they got me soloing on this, and it was Rain on Us.
Of course.
So, so like me and Calvin has history from that. We have history from church. We have history from, he played for R. Kelly after I did. So different things like that. But
your catalog, man, your resume is freaking incredible, bro. What was your favorite tour out of all of them?
Oh man. So I divide them and I split them up in between the women and the men.
Okay, dope.
And so, I like guys. I like playing with the guys because the girls scream at the concert. Guys are not gonna scream at the concert. Yeah, but it's fun. It was fun playing with Beyonce. It's fun playing with Mary. Fun. Like, the one thing is, with Beyonce, she paid a lot of attention to detail.
Okay.
One thing people don't know about her is she watches the show every night after the show.
Wow. And
she had really sympathy for certain things. Like, for instance, if we in show number 20 and we got 60 shows to go, she'd be like, yo, I know you're gonna have a bad show, or I'm gonna have a bad show, or and she was really sympathetic to that. It's like, you're gonna miss, because I remember one night, man, I missed the cue so bad, bro. Like, it was an 8 count, and 4 was for me, and 4 was for them.
Oof.
And I got botched up on which 4 I was on.
Yeah.
and of course, I came in wrong and strong.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at me like,
that ain't it.
And then she was like, yeah, I understand. I understand, because we in show number 40. We got all these shows to go. Like, it's not gonna be perfect every night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was like my one. That was like a couple of experiences I had with Beyonce.
Wow.
That made me love working with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another one was Jumpin'.
Yeah.
I was playing Jumpin'. I totally forgot the beat. Totally forgot it. So what I did was, in Gerald Heyward fashion, I just blazed over the whole thing. And she was looking at me like, oh my God. And then once we finished the song, because this was on her tour, this wasn't on Destiny's Child's tour, this was on her tour. Jeez. And she looked at me and was like, come to my dressing room when this is over.
Oh Lord.
You talking about a nigga scared? So I go, Jay-Z's there, right? I go to the dressing room, but the bodyguard's sitting outside, and I start talking to him because I'm procrastinating. I don't want to knock the door. I'm procrastinating. So Jay-Z came and looked out the door like he was looking for somebody. He was like, yo, B, Gerald's right here. Gerald's right here. So I'm like, this snitch nigga. So I go in the room and she go, Gerald, on Jumpin', what happened? And I said, yo, I forgot the beat to the song. So I just played over the beat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And she was like, yo, that was the dopest thing I ever heard. She's like, yo, you got to do that every night. And then it got to the point where when we got to LA and everything, and like when Nissan and Teddy and all them was at this, you know, Beyonce go, yo, all you drummers, listen to this. Oh, and that's where the jumping thing.
That's where the jumping came from. Yo, man.
So just having different experiences with these artists, it made all of it really good. Like I never had a bad tour or anything like with Chris Brown or anybody. Like I was just always, because I was always in my own world. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, I played your music how I heard it. Right. And as long as you liked it, I'm good. And then other than that, I'm buying sneakers. I'm going to find them. I know the best place to eat and I know where to get sneakers.
Right.
So that was my thing.
Yo, that is so dope. How important is it to like have band camaraderie? You know, like you got to be a good person, right?
Yeah. God rest his soul. Bernard Bell.
Yeah.
Bernard Bell was one of the people that taught me about band camaraderie. Yeah. You know, us going out to eat, us being on the road. Basically, we all we got. Mm-hmm. We in New Zealand somewhere. We all we got.
Yeah.
So, you know, reach out to each other. You know, call. Mm-hmm. You know what you doing. You know, go out together. Don't move without each other. Mm-hmm. And he really taught me that, man. He taught me how to, just be one with the people that you get on stage with every night. And, you know, a lot of things that led up to, you know, playing and not even having to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I know Chip gonna blaze this song, so let me just play my part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Gerald gonna go crazy on this song, so let me just play my part.
Yeah.
You know, and those sort of conversations really never happened as a conversation.
Right.
It just was like a look or
a feeling.
Like, nigga, you killing this. Like, yo, this your joint. You know what I mean? And that came from the camaraderie. That came from the going out to eat, snapping on each other.
Of course,
all of that stuff. You know, all of those things that we kind of did in church, you know, he kind of made us do when we was on the road with Blackstreet. I mean, we do stuff like, you know, we learned a song, we learning like Don't Leave or something. Don't Leave was a complicated song to learn because it was like, it had 4 hits sometimes, it had 5 hits sometimes. Sometimes it was on the 1, sometimes it wasn't on the 1. You know what I mean? And we had to learn that. No Diggity, all those drops.
Yes.
Like, we had to learn that. And like, he'd do stuff like, yo, 10 push-ups if you mess up.
Okay.
So we like getting in shape.
Yeah.
We laughing, we joking, but we learning a song.
Of course.
And it made it fun. It didn't make it like work. It was like, yo, this is fun. I'm not mad at this. You know what I mean? But like I said, I've learned a whole lot from Bernard Bell when it comes to camaraderie and us being together and us moving as one and us looking out for each other when we in these countries we can't even pronounce.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what Bernard Bell helped me with.
God bless.
You know I mean, me, Kern and Val was always tight, but that just made us even more tighter that we hung out and just, it's all about each other. You know, we looking out for each other. So
shout out to the memory of Bernard Bell and
yes.
The Brantley brothers. Like,
Kern and Val.
Amazing.
Those are some amazing musicians, man, and just people in general.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. Don't kill me. I know. It was getting good. We'll be back next week, June 7th at 8 p.m. for part 3 of episode 13 on the In the Pocket podcast. with my amazing, legendary guest, Mr. Gerald Geestro Heyward. Man, this is getting good. He gave us so much content that we have to break it up into 3 pieces. So next week, I'll be airing episode 13, part 3 with the legend Gerald Heyward. Don't miss it. Tell a friend. Like, share, and repost this. Subscribe to the In the Pocket podcast. The audio version is available on all digital platforms. Help a brother out. Spread the word. Listen to this great content. Check out all the past episodes. And I'll see you next week, June 7th at 8 p.m. Stay in the pocket.